Score questions today for Coach with Paul to Coach's left.
Coach, I asked Josh the same question, but second straight game, your group's been down by 30. What is that something I know you can't predict any of that, but that's something you kind of sense in warm-ups, or that your team isn't ready, or?
I don't know what Josh said, but I didn't sense it. We had a great day yesterday at practice. I thought they were really, really good, considering what we had the last outing, where we're at in the season. Their energy in practice was really good. We had a very short shoot-around this morning because of the early start time. We had to modify what we do normally for game day preparation, but they were enthusiastic and had a bounce to their step. And for whatever reason, we got off to just a horrible start again, and we just played uphill all afternoon.
We'll go back to the back in the middle with Danny P. in the hat.
Coach, fourth straight game, you've given up at least 85 points. Just where are the issues on defense in your mind? Is it just not getting to the right spots or effort? What, in your mind, what is it?
Yeah, it's tough to even hear that. Certainly I'm aware of it. It's what I told them in the locker room, that one of my job responsibilities in 1A, 1B, 1C, somewhere in there, is on game day to get our guys, our team, to compete at the highest level, regardless of what our record is, who we're playing, what time the tip is, where the game's played at, who's available, unavailable. That's part of my job, and it means a lot to me. And I told them that for whatever reason, I've failed to be able to, for the most part, most of the games, to get them to play to the standard that we've created, to the expectation that our fans have come to know, that we have. And in the end, it's one of my major responsibilities, and it's not happening. So that obviously hurts me to my core, what we believe in, and we've just not been able to get them to play at the level that we need them to.
Go ahead, Sam, front row middle.
You touched on it a little bit at the start, but how do you just assess how the energy of the team has been the last week or so, not even just in the games, but in between and practice in the locker room and things like that?
I mean, you've heard me say this before, like, kids are far more resilient than the coaches are when it comes to bouncing back. They just are. I mean, they're young, they don't have as much perspective maybe as the old guys do, and the losses usually stay with the coaches a little bit longer. That's usually a good thing, for the program to be able to move on and reset and look to the next opponent. And they've done that, all year long. And obviously recently it's been tough. We've had some bad losses in terms of margin, in terms of how the games have started. But like I said earlier, yesterday, they were really, really good. They really were. I mean, if they weren't, like I said before, I just wouldn't talk about yesterday. I wouldn't talk about how bad of a practice we had or how low of energy we had, and that wasn't the case.
Go ahead, Brian, second row.
So when you think about these issues that you're having right now, and you talk about getting your team being ready on game day, is it more about the effort your team's giving on game day, or is it more about just a lack of execution?
It's definitely a combination of both. But the thing that I focused on today with them was the effort part. As a group, as a program, certainly you can point out a play here, a play there, or a run, a 2-minute stretch here or there that they played with the required effort and tenacity that you need to compete at the level, we're competing at in this league. And we're just not doing it right now. We've done it at times, we've done it for games and we've done it for stretches, but it hasn't been something that's in our back pocket. It's not something that we can rely on, and you always want more. I've had teams where, I look back going, yeah, I thought, they didn't compete enough, at times, but, you compare it to different stretches and you're like, okay, that wasn't that bad. But certainly it's a combination of both.
Back to Paul, front row left.
Coach, after seeing how this team played against Auburn, and then to follow that up with 3 straight losses, obviously, it's got to be frustrating for everybody involved. But how frustrating has it been for you as a coach to see this team after the Auburn win?
Yeah, it feels like forever ago. It feels like forever ago when we had the Ole Miss win on the road and then came home and had that game against Auburn and then felt, wow, we got some momentum. We're going to go to South Carolina and keep this thing going and play as our best basketball down the stretch, which is every coach across the country is talking about. That's always the goal, to be able to do that regardless of where you're at. You want to be playing your best right now. Right now is when you want to start to be peaking as a basketball team, and certainly we're not. So it's more than frustrating. Whatever word is worse than frustrating, that's insert that word for me. And I'm sure I know they're frustrated too. They don't like it. And like I said, it's my responsibility to try to fix it and change it, and we're just not doing a good enough job.
Go back to Danny P. in the back.
Coach King Grace came out 9 points, 0 turnovers, and we know he's in a little bit of pain right now. Just talk about his game today.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if he was going to play. He'd been bothered by a groin issue last few days, but he was on the available list, and he said he was good. So I thought he was hesitant in his first run, trying to feel it out a little bit, and then I'm not sure. I have to ask him, but like something clicked mentally for him because all of a sudden he just started playing really aggressive, and like with a lot of confidence. And I obviously loved the result. I mean, more positive plays for him individually than negative. Obviously, it's in a losing cause, but for him individually, hopefully this is something that he can build on, going forward as a young player, and knowing that how he has to be in his mindset, all the time, because that mindset that he had, not just on the offensive end, I mean on the defensive end, he was being really aggressive and playing the type of defense, that he's capable of playing. And Barrett was giving us, all sorts of problems, and it was too little too late, but, he did a pretty good job on him down the stretch.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.